All right. So we're just going to get started with some introductions and an icebreaker. I know we all love icebreakers. But yeah, I sort of introduced myself, but I'll do it again for the students that are watching. My name is Delaney. I am a senior here at Virginia Tech, and I am also an engagement ambassador in terms of my organizations. I am in Crew, which is a campus ministry, and I am also in Sensations Acapella. And then our icebreaker is going to be a high and a low of the past week. I'm sure we've all seen that before. I'm going to start out with a low. I have been really tired this week. It's getting to that point in the semester where there's a lot happening, honestly too much happening. And I'm just sort of ready for this week to be over. I really wish I could go home for fall break, but obviously I can't. But that's okay. And then I would say a high of my week is that my roommates and I are fostering a kitten. He's very cute. His name is Hardy, and he was found outside of the Hardys off of Price's Fork, hence the name. So he's very cute. He's about 7 weeks old. So yeah, that's great. And anyone can go next. Just share your name and your year and then your organization, and then a high and a low.
Okay, so I'm Jordan. I'm from Blacksburg Blaze, and my major is mechanical engineering. This is my senior year. I'm happy to be here. Hi. Well, no, we'll start with the low. We'll leave you on a high note. So low was, yeah, similarly, it's been a interesting beginning of the week at least, because I had a bunch of tests and like project stuff and lab report all at once, and then I got a rejection from an interview that I was super hyped about, and I'm like, this is nice. So I definitely had a moment where I was like, man, I don't know if this is gonna happen the rest of this week, like this stuff, but I made it. I'm here. So yeah, hi. I guess like an hour ago, I was listening to some good music, excited for this event. So I was just kind of feeling good. So that'll be my high.
Awesome. We so appreciate students who are passionate about just having conversations with other students. Sometimes obviously we have organizations that show up to stuff, and sometimes we don't. And it's always just great to see that students really do care about having conversations with other students and leaders. So that's great. Anyone who wants to go next, feel free. Also, I forgot to mention, we can say majors too. So I'm a human development major, and I'm double minoring in communications and French. So there you go.
Cool. So I'm Matthew. I'm a junior in mechanical engineering with the CS minor. And I'm with Wesley at Virginia Tech, which is a lot of fun. I think my low is that on Thursday last week, I was taking a fluids test, which was very sad. And my high is that my roommate and I went on a really good walk this past weekend, which was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Abigail. I'm a senior in HNFB or nutrition. And I'm also with Wesley at Virginia Tech. And then I sometimes volunteer for the food pantry, which is 209. And I'll do the low first. I think my low was it was also a test week last week, and that was tiring. But this week I've had little to no assignments, and I got to watch Mean Girls today. So
love that.
Pretty good.
Nice. All right, well, that's great to hear. I'm glad that we all ended on a high note. I'm hoping that this is a high of the week rather than a low. So the first question that I'm going to ask, I'm going to send it in the chat as well, but it's going to be, how has getting involved in the role that you are specifically in shaped your college experience? So if you want to share also what role you have in the organization, that would be great.
Okay. So I guess if we're going in the same order, I'll go ahead. Let's see. So my role has kind of shifted since like freshman year, but currently I'm the president of the student organization part of it. And I'm in charge of like outreach for the campus part of it. So we have like off-campus stuff going on now, and then on campus because of COVID, we can't all be necessarily together. So as far as how that's changed my perspective on college experience, it's definitely feels less like I'm just a typical student now. It kind of adds a broader view of life in general, where I'm going to class and stuff, but sort of in the back of my mind or at you know school isn't necessarily the end all be all at this point, and that can be good because it kind of helps relieve some stress, when you realize that school isn't all of everything I'm living for, and like I have the sort of greater purpose that I'm working for that I feel like is going to last, and doesn't, goes beyond just my, work career. So that's
Yeah.
been good to have to sort of keep me grounded and I guess focused more on the long term.
Yeah, that's great.
So I'm our Wesley student discipleship minister, and so we coordinate like small groups and one-on-one spiritual formation and things like that. And the the role has been cool in order to just like be part of an organization that sort of provided my community freshman and sophomore year. But I think that it's really just being a part of such a people-driven community that really is what defined my college experience there. Like I'm also on a design team, but then the focus there is designing the thing. But then I really have enjoyed and I think grown a lot through having a community that's focused on all the people.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah, and then at Wesley at Virginia Tech, I'm the student campus minister, which I just like communicate everything out and work with the core ministry team. But really, I think how like Wesley at Virginia Tech has shaped my college experience was before I was even in leadership. Like they were definitely the people who were the most supportive. They were the most inclusive. They like always wanted to get to know you genuinely and intentionally, and I think that was kind of eye-opening in college where you're constantly meeting new people and looking for connections. Plus on exam weeks they always had snacks in their building, so that was kind of
Always a plus.
a plus.
Yeah, that's great.
Right.
And honestly, the free stuff that I get from the organizations that I'm in is definitely an added bonus. So in terms of my involvement, in terms of Sensations Acapella, I am the vice president and treasurer. So I'm super involved in leadership in Sensations. And then in terms of crew, which obviously fits more into what we're talking about, organization wise, I'm actually just a regular old member, not in any leadership positions. But the good thing I think about a lot of the campus ministries here, and just like faith-based organizations in general, is that they have a lot of ways to get involved even as members. So I'm being discipled as well as in a Bible study / small group, and also when large group was happening, going to large group, but as we know, that's not really a thing. But I think that not only getting involved in the roles in Sensations, but just being involved in general has really shaped the way that I manage myself, my time, my priorities. I think that it's just been, I also want to echo everything that everyone else said, and I definitely resonate with that, with just feeling like I found my place and my community, and that's really important, I think, to just has not gotten involved yet. And I think that aside from that, just knowing how to manage all the things going on has been a skill that I've been able to develop through being involved. And I think that that's really important. And yeah, it's just been super helpful. So thank you for sharing. The next question I'm going to ask is, what is something that you have struggled with as a leader? Just sent that in the chat as well. We don't have to go in the same order, by the way. So just so you know. Or we can.
Okay, cool. So for me, the biggest thing I've struggled with is just doing too much, I guess. I really can't be, exceptional at 60 different things. You have to narrow it down. And what I was doing at one point was being kind of mediocre at tons of things. So I had to kind of narrow it. So just learning to say no, not, because you got to take care of yourself, not get burnt out, not put out poor quality results, and just be unfocused, I guess, on the role that you're working for at the moment. So yeah, just had to learn to take care of myself and also the people that I was representing and doing the work I was doing for, because can't be very good if spread thin.
Yeah, it's definitely true. I think that's a common problem that a lot of, whether you're an organization leader or just a member, I think that a lot of people struggle with that.
Yeah, I think my biggest leadership struggle has been figuring out how to match my leadership style to the people that I am leading. Kind of finding that balance between checking in enough that people stay accountable, but not enough that it's overbearing and that type of thing. Because if you swing too far one way or the other, then either you end up doing everything or nothing ends up happening, and that's a hard line to walk.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I could definitely echo both of y'all for those struggles. I felt those. I think I have realized in leadership I'm not great with execution. I find it stressful on my own. And so I've learned a lot about how you really need to rely on that team around you to get everything done. And that's so comforting to have that connection, to know that you're not the only one leading. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That actually is a really good segue into the next question that I'm going to ask, which is going to be, how did you balance being involved with all other responsibilities? Because as we know, there are a lot of responsibilities that come with being a college student, both academically, socially, all that. In terms of the last question about something that I've struggled with, I think, sort of echoing what Matthew, you said, I think just figuring out how to balance the relationships that I have with the people that I am leading. I think that's something that's been sometimes difficult. Someone might be my best friend outside of the organization, and they can't be my best friend in the organization when I'm in a leadership role. Obviously, sometimes they can, but when it comes to instructing them or even guiding them as a leader, I think that it's something that I've struggled with, to figure out how to navigate, making sure everyone feels like I'm treating everyone the same, but also highlighting the fact that I really love everyone in the organization. So yeah, that's definitely been something that I've had to figure out how to navigate. So going back to that second question, how did you balance being involved with all your other responsibilities?
For me, I think Google Calendar is my best friend, and planning out all my time very detailed was a big help in figuring out when I was going to be overextended and when I wasn't.
For sure.
For me, Matthew actually taught me how to use Google Calendar a month ago. So that was a huge help. 3 calendars went to 1. But I find that it's a flow too. Sometimes I spend way more time on a student organization for a week, and then there's another week where I have to tell leadership, hey, you're not going to see me as much because I'm working double, or there's a family thing going on. But communication has been a really huge help. And then knowing you can rely on that team and asking what they expect from you versus what you expect from them has really been helpful.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I can echo that. Definitely. Google Calendar is big. Planning out time, I also go on my, notes section of my phone, and I go, okay, how many hours am I going to spend on each of these things this week? And then spread that out throughout the days based on priorities. So it's definitely, scheduling super important.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a big planner. Always have been, always will be. So I use Google Calendar, but I also use like a physical planner. And something that I do that I tell anyone that I'm talking to about planning is at the beginning of the semester, I go into Canvas and I change the colors of all of the classes to like a specific color that I like or like for some reason fits with the class. You know how like everyone has a color binder when they grow up that just goes with science and goes with math. I do that basically with my classes in Canvas, and then I correlate those colors to highlighter colors. I think I might sound a little bit weird here, but I love highlighting each week. Like I'll write down all the things I need to do every day, like big assignments, even like going on a walk or a run. Like I put that in my planner so that I know that I'm going to do it and I feel accomplished for spending time on something. And then I go ahead and highlight according to what class it is. And when it comes to extracurricular stuff, I will also have colors for my organization so that I know to highlight, you know, a Bible study or a practice or whatever it is so that I know that I'm going to do it. Obviously, it's not a requirement to go that hard in terms of planning, but I just really love planning. So that's something that has really helped me. And I also just look forward to planning. So it helps me feel like I'm on top of things, and it's great. So I also love in Google Calendar when you can make things different colors. Again, love that. Big color person here. The next question I'm going to ask is a more overarching thing, but basically, why do you feel that it's important to get involved in college?
So I'd say like just having a life in general is important, and you kind of need a bit of balance between schoolwork, student life, and your general like outside of class, outside of work stuff. It's definitely important for reducing your stress, and also, like I said at the beginning, maybe adding an extra layer of meaning to what you're doing and why you're here.
For sure.
Yeah, I also feel like at a place as large as tech, like there are going to be people that have your interests, and if you don't know what your interests are, there are people that can help you find them. And so it's a great way to find and meet people that are not in your major and in all your classes. And so it's just a really good way to find a supportive community, whether that comes from something like a campus ministry or something else. I think just getting involved outside of classes is the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I think college is really tricky in the sense that like you have awkward class times and then gaps for you to take naps, and so you never really stop working or like thinking about the next assignment coming up. And so having people who can be like, oh, take a break so that we can go, I don't know, do something fun for a second, or just have a conversation, grab some coffee is really important. And then also just people who can support you when like hard times happen or you have someone to turn to, I think is great.
Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest thing for me that I always tell, so at the source here, we do involvement advising, and that's essentially, I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, but it's essentially, I mean, it's exactly what it sounds like. We advise people on how to get involved, where they should start. They tell us their interests essentially on a questionnaire, and we figure out some organizations that might work for them. And then they can do their own research and find some stuff that they're interested in. But the number one thing that I always tell people that I do involvement advising with is that the overall goal of getting involved is not necessarily like finding connections for a job afterwards. That's great. And that's something that I think comes with getting involved, no matter what type of organization you're in, whether that's like a networking organization specifically for your major, or if it's just, an a cappella group or something like that, that's just recreational. And I think the overall goal is that you find people that make you feel at home. You find people that make such a large university feel so much smaller. And you also find people that are lifelong friends. Like that is the ultimate goal. Obviously, not everyone finds their best friends in college, and that's fine. But I think that it's amazing to find relationships, even if they're not going to be your best friend 10 years after college. You have those memories with those people, you have connections. I can't tell you the amount of people that have randomly known someone who knew someone who knew someone that was in the same group, and it's turned out to be very fruitful in terms of connections or networking or things that I think a lot of people have on their minds in college. But yeah, I just think that overall for me, the most important thing that I've experienced because of the way that I got involved is these lifelong friendships that I know I'm going to have forever. And also mentorship. I think that's so important, especially with the nature of like these types of organizations, of whether they're faith or spirituality or whatever it might be. So that's really cool. And I think that you end up learning a lot about yourself through organizations. Yeah, I've never met someone at Virginia Tech who has not been involved in something, which is really cool. And everyone has their own story of how they got involved. And it's just really cool. So yeah, great answers, everyone. And the next question I'm going to ask is, what do you think is the most important lesson you have learned by being involved in a student organization? All these questions are sort of like similar in vibe, but they sort of focus on something specific that you've learned or experienced.
Okay, so one thing might be being careful of, well, first of all, not being afraid to jump in and do things, basically. You know, like some of my favorite college experiences have been because of my involvement of Blaze. Just excellent memories, and really seize the moment. You know, they're all limited, so just definitely allow each moment to be the most that it can be. So I'll definitely say that. At the same time, don't allow yourself to be run ragged. Stay healthy, and you'll have a great time.
Like, this is a hard one. You can, like, say so many little lessons, you know. I feel like college is a great time for growing. I would say the most important lesson I've learned by being involved in a student organization is to just like love others around you, despite anything. Love yourself, and I don't know, just like be positive, have the self-efficacy. Yeah.
Yeah, those are great lessons.
Yeah, I do feel like most is a high bar to set, but I think one of the more entertaining ones is that, like, when you have a people that get together that have similar ideas, you can get a lot done with a small group of people if you're loud enough about it. And so that was something where, especially in my high school, the administration was a little bit against any change. And so being in an environment where, oh, we have an idea, oh, we can actually do something with it, I think that was just very empowering.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I've been in similar situations before where you realize that like you do have a lot of power when you're in a group of people. I think that the most important thing that I've learned in both of my student organizations is how to be confident and how to not even in necessarily myself, but just my beliefs and my values as a person. I think that going into college, I sort of didn't know like who I was, what I was doing. And then, you know, through my organizations, I was able to figure out who I was. And obviously I'm a senior, so this doesn't come like immediately when you get into an organization, you suddenly know who you are. But, you know, throughout being involved, I've been able to learn a lot about myself. And I think that that's really cool. And there's not a lot of situations outside of college where you're sort of in this environment where it's all about you. Like it really is about you figuring out like what you want to do, how you want to interact with people, how you want to show up in the world. And Abigail, like what you said, how to love others well. I think that that's something that you can't really learn on your own. And that's something that's really cool about organizations. No matter like what the mission statement of the organization is, you learn how to work with others. And through that, you learn how to work with yourself. And I think that that's really amazing. And obviously, like, I work with student organizations and with students trying to get involved, so I'm super passionate about that. But yeah, I just think that student organizations are amazing, and they really do help you figure out who you are and what you believe as a person. And then you go out into the real world holding fast to those beliefs and the person that you are, that you were able to sort of shape. So that's really cool. The next question is going to be talking a little bit about this COVID pandemic that we all know and love. But basically, how have you stayed motivated and involved during the pandemic and primarily a virtual semester? This can be you personally and also your organization, how you've been able to facilitate stuff online and still sort of get the same stuff out of the semester, but virtually and without really being able to meet all that much in person.
I think for me, those two answers are very much intertwined. And it was the people that are in the organization that would, reach out and made an effort to stay connected, especially over the summer, that really kind of helped me stay involved with my community. And it's very similar for online classes, like knowing people that are in same classes and in different classes that we can, all hop on Zoom with, or all have group chats with, or do all the things. Just having that community that's both tight knit from before, but then also like ready and willing to loop new people in, I think was the best thing that could have happened there.
Okay. I think my answer kind of echoes Matthew, but we're also in the same organization. But really just the teamwork, not just from the leaders, but like the whole organization. So we were on a spring break mission trip in Florida when we found out, and just the next day people were having list after list of ideas, kind of bringing them up when they felt the need to. And so like our leadership team met every week through COVID and through the summer, and it was just crazy the amount of like Zoom calls, like people were writing letters to each other, Jackbox games. Yeah, it was really neat. I didn't feel like I was ever uninvolved, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I can definitely say it's not just yeah, we're all adapting, and the community is definitely a big thing everywhere. So I could say a Blaze community is the same thing. Like we once it started happening, people had ideas, none of us were really together because of spring break, but just on Facebook Messenger, like, oh, here's what we could do. So it just kind of kept going on through the summer, and now here we are. And of course, we got each other on Zoom and phone and everything, feeling discouraged, call up, and then, we'll get reinvigorated and keep on towards the vision. So that's what we've been doing.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's been really encouraging seeing all the student organizations able to still do stuff virtually. I think also this is a great learning experience for everyone in the world, figuring out how to adapt to everything being online. Yeah, it's definitely been really interesting, but I do feel a sense of community just in general with people all sort of experiencing the same thing. It's kind of encouraging in a weird way that everyone has sort of experienced the same thing over the past however many months it's been. I can't even count at this point. But yeah, I think for me, staying motivated has been all about like diving into the new whatever virtual things that we're doing. I think that a lot of people were like, I don't want to have Zoom classes. Like, I don't want to meet with my singing organization over Zoom. Like, understandably not really something that's easy to facilitate, or even like I don't want to watch large group crew on YouTube or whatever it might be. I think that it's really easy to fall into like this is just another week of doing the same thing. And I think a way that I've been able to stay motivated, and I think my organizations have helped me stay motivated, is really like thinking about the good things about this not so great situation. Thinking about how I don't have to, drive to class 15 minutes before. Like I can go 3 minutes after I take my nap or whatever it might be, and thinking about, little things that I probably wouldn't have cared about before, but now I think are super cool. Even I'm in the source right now, in case you're wondering why I'm not wearing a mask, the door is locked, but so no one's coming in. But, thinking about how I really enjoy going to work now, being in the space and thinking about how even though there's no one in here really doing anything, it feels nice to be able to get out. And I would never have ever been grateful for that before. And so, thinking about the things that I'm grateful for has definitely been motivating. And although this semester is really, really weird, I think that it's easy to be more grateful for the ability that we have to meet virtually and have conversations like this online. So that's really cool. But that was the last question that I had in terms of the discussion, but I'm gonna send some bullet points in here about just like how and when new students can join. This is mostly for students if they're gonna watch, but also if anyone's interested in checking out other organizations as well as their own. It's gonna be how and when students can join, some upcoming events you might have, whether that be virtual or in person safely, or things like that, and where to find contact information. So I'm just gonna send that really quickly, and then anyone can start if you know off the top of your head. If you don't know, if you have no upcoming events, that's also fine.
So for us, Blacksburg Blaze on Gobbler Connect, you can join anytime. And as far as how, just show up to something or message us on Gobbler Connect, or hop on our Zoom or YouTube Live for Sunday. So the main events that we have every Sunday at 10:30 on YouTube Live, Blacksburg Blaze YouTube channel. We stream like a church service type thing. We also have a distanced like watch party setup going on in Squires, Brush Mountain A. So you just go up the stairs near Burger 37, and it's on the 3rd floor. And yeah, you can also email me at jbt18, and that's B as in boy, at bt.edu. And yeah, that's it.
And then for Wesley at Virginia Tech, when you can get involved, well, anytime. And then how we're also on Gobbler Connect. Our social media, I think we have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and those are all VT Wesley or Wesley at Virginia Tech. As for upcoming events, every Sunday we do like a short prayer circle. That's on Gobbler Connect. Once you get plugged in, you can join our group meet. It's like super easy. Our worship is also YouTube Live, Wednesdays at 7:30. And then we're doing like a Hollow Wesley, which is all socially distant and safe and fun. Our building's on 209 Roanoke Street. So you can like walk in with a costume and get candy. Yeah.
That's cool.
All right. I am about to send something in the chat about a student leadership opportunity that the source is actually hosting. In terms of my organization's Crew and Sensations, obviously Crew, again, more fits into what we're talking about, but Crew, as with other faith or spirituality-based organizations here, anytime people can come. Obviously, usually we have like a large group, which is on Thursday nights, and that's not happening right now, but we are streaming it on YouTube. So Crew is just CRU. You can find that on Gobbler Connect, and you can get involved and plugged in there. We have small groups, and a lot of them are able to meet in person, socially distanced, with masks on. I know that like my Bible study meets with masks on outside. So far, the weather has been okay, but we'll see how that goes. And then in terms of Sensations, if anyone is interested in that as well, Sensations is more of an audition-based thing. We don't have auditions several times throughout the semester, but we do have auditions at the beginning of the fall semester and at the beginning of the spring semester. And we are on Gobbler Connect at Sensations Acapella at Virginia Tech. So yeah, you can find information there. In terms of the student leadership program that the Source is hosting. It's called Be Well, Lead Well. We started it last year, and it's essentially a student leadership program that focuses on promoting healthy minds and practices for student leaders. Last year, we were able to do some in-person like breakfast meetings every week and some yoga and stuff like that. And this year, with everything going on, we've been trying to figure out how to facilitate discussions and stuff like that. And so we're actually going to be able to have an in-person journaling event on October 23rd at 3 p.m. and 3:45 p.m. On the Duck Pond field. Let me write that down. And essentially you can come and get free journals, very exciting, free desserts from the Heathwood Market, if anyone knows where that is, and free apple cider. Very exciting. We love free stuff. And essentially you can either come, bring a blanket and hang out with us, or you can come and grab your stuff and go. But yeah, that's sort of what's happening. You can also find that event on Gobbler Connect. So if you're interested, it's called Mindful Journaling Live. Let me write that down for you. And if you want to come, I highly recommend. If you feel more comfortable grabbing stuff and going, that's also totally fine. If you want to encourage your members to show up, that's cool too. We do ask that people RSVP, so we sort of know the numbers. But yeah, that's what's going on in terms of the Source. If you have any other questions about anything random, this goes for students watching as well. You can email us at thesource@vt.edu. And that's pretty much it. If we want to keep talking, that's cool too. But I don't want to keep you here too long. Yeah, it was great to meet you all. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. This is a good thing that y'all decided to do at the Source.
Thank
Good
you.
to just have these conversations and also make them available to students.
Yeah, we love facilitating conversations, whether it be between org leaders. I think it's always really nice to feel supported in knowing that there are other org leaders that are experiencing something similar to you or something completely different. And it's very encouraging. And I think that for students, it's also encouraging to know that there are leaders out there that want the best for them and want them to get involved in something that they really enjoy. So yeah, had a great time talking to you all. And I wish you the best of luck this semester with everything going on, as well as next semester. Who knows what that's going to look like. But yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to end the meeting if that's
Thank you.
Okay.